I've just got a question about the whole determined truth thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure in the sense of, for example, you mentioned earlier about teleportation.
Yep.
How it's possible.
Yep.
Can you, let's say you want to discover that,
yep.
Can you long and develop the passion to ask God about that? Or do you have to kind of prep yourself in a way by going through experiments or understanding other laws?
It's a good question, Eddie. Yep.
Yeah.
So let's look at this. So you understand the senses are involved. There's also a staging that needs to occur. You need to understand certain things before you can understand other things. You understand? Know what I mean?
Sense,
yeah, it makes sense, doesn't it? So, if an example, if you had to design a vehicle, there's a whole series of things you'd have to understand first, wouldn't there? You'd have to understand some metallurgy, because you'd have to understand what are you going to make the vehicle out of, right? You'd have to understand materials and how they work and how they function and their limits. You'd have to have some engineering understanding of mathematics in terms of putting the materials together in such a way that makes them strong enough to carry an engine or or electronics or electrical power, whatever. You've got to have an understanding there. You're going to have a foundation, you could say, in lots of different areas of knowledge. That makes sense?
Yep.
Well, one of the things you need a foundation with to understand teleportation is emotion. The average person on Earth has no understanding of any of that. So naturally they can't teleport.
So how the understanding that emotion affect your ability to teleport, let's say,
How does it?
Yeah, how...
Well, if I explain that to you, then you'd have to understand a whole heap of other things for my explanation to make any sense to you.
Yeah, right.
Do you understand? So what I'm saying though is you're not going to understand how teleportation work unless you understand your emotions first.
Okay.
And because you don't understand your emotions first, how can I explain teleportation to you without you understanding your emotions first? All I can do is present it as an intellectual concept, but it'll just go way over your head and be a waste of time. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Until you have some concept emotionally of what's involved, you're not going to get it. You also, to teleport, you have to have some understanding of how love and energy works.
Mm.
Now, the average person on Earth has a very distorted understanding of love because they think addiction is love. And they have a very distorted understanding of energy because they don't understand that energy isn't just, I'm not just talking about power, like electrical power energy. I'm talking about the energy that your soul generates through its functioning. You have to understand how your soul works in order to use it to some degree. Does that make sense?
Yep.
If I can't demonstrate to you how your soul works on a very rudimentary level, how am I going to share how to do it to teleport? Can you see that would be very difficult to do?
Yeah.
So it's impossible to describe to somebody how something works unless they have a foundation. This is why we have an education on Earth. This is why people come up with the idea you go to school. Because they thought, we need to educate people in different areas of life, and we need to educate them in particular areas of science, mathematics, and just give them a basic understanding at least so they can have a foundation upon which to build upon in their future. Now that applies to your soul education as well. You need a foundation. They are staging points. You could call them developmental points that you need to go through. You need to develop to understand a thing in the end, right? You can't just be presented with something without there being some development, right? So the fundamental development that happens from the soul's perspective is love, truth, faith, and humility. Unless you have those developments, there are many physical things you're never going to be able to do or understand. Teleportation is one of them.